All right, welcome to May 1st meeting of the Garden Ridge City Council. And we've got everybody here tonight, which is fantastic. Jesse, welcome back. It's great to have you here. Thanks so much for getting better. It's great to see you. And with everybody here, we have a special presentation tonight from the Davenport High School Junior ROTC. And if you'd all stand and post the colors, please.
Forward, march. Left, left, right, left, right, left, group, hold, right, face, present, arms.
If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Order, arms, left, face, forward, march, left, right, right, left, right.
They make it look easy. Can we give them a round of applause, please? All right, thank you. That takes a lot of practice and hard work, dedication. We have a couple of proclamations to pass out tonight. So for our first one, Marissa, can I ask you and Cindy to come on up? I think the first thing I need to do is say happy birthday, Marissa.
Thank you.
29 again.
Right?
Outstanding.
The number changes every time we talk about it.
And before we do this, would you please make the introduction? This is Cindy's first meeting.
Yes, so this is Cindy Simmons. She is our new Assistant City Secretary / Communications Specialist, and we are thrilled, mainly me. I'm very thrilled to have her here, and this is her first council meeting.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, proclamation. Whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, also known as the City Secretary's office, is a time-honored and vital part of local government that exists throughout the world, and the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest position among public servants, and the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And professional municipal clerks serve as the information center on functions of local government and community. And professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, regional, county, and international professional organizations. And it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rob Erickson, Mayor of Garden Ridge, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 5 through 11, 2024 in the city of Garden Ridge as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our City Secretary and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and the exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. We couldn't get it done without Marissa and her team. So congratulations, it's a great week. That's part of my job. You got to get pictures, right?
Yes.
Do it in front of the podium. Any words? Yes.
Just briefly. I just want to say thank you to Mayor, City Council, and the City Manager. Over the years that I've been a City Secretary, one thing that I've realized is that many city secretaries don't feel supported, appreciated, or respected in their positions from their city councils and their city managers. So that's not something that I take lightly, and I really appreciate all of y'all supporting, appreciating, and respecting us. So thank you.
Thank you. Chief, can I have you and all the officers front and center?
Take them all.
Come on up. Wang's not working tonight? Wow. Come around. All right, again, one of the best parts of my job is proclamations, and it's May again. So, proclamation. Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15 as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15 falls as National Police Week. National Police Week, established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And the members of the Garden Ridge Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Garden Ridge. And it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the dedicated service and courageous deeds of our law enforcement officers, and for the contributions they have made to the security and well-being of all of our citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rob Erickson, Mayor of Garden Ridge, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 12 through 18, 2024 in the city of Garden Ridge as National Police Week. I ask all of us to join in commemorating police officers, both past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all of our citizens. I further call upon all the citizens of Garden Ridge to observe May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, to honor those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. To date, we have lost 26,426 peace officers, and there were 137 line-of-duty deaths reported in 2023 alone. Big round of applause for those who protect us. Just a couple quick words. We couldn't do this without you, Chief, your leadership, Assistant Chief, what you do to back up the chief and keep everybody going, our sergeants and our officers out there day in, day out. We depend upon you. We have your back because we know that you have ours. And in this time in our world where it's hard to be a law enforcement officer, thank you for what you do and keeping us safe. And we depend upon you. Thank you, Chief.
I would just like to say thank you for recognizing what the officers do and all the brothers and sister officers that are out there on a day-to-day basis. And this is actually a great segue into what's fixing to come up next and one of the little talks that I want to do next. So I'm going to cut this one short and do some more talking here in just a second. Thank you. Yes. Front. Behind mine, please. Actually, are you just going to announce it? I would like, thought you might want to speak. Okay.
Actually, Chief, this one's all you.
It's all me?
Yep, it's all you. This is your baby, so you go.
Outstanding. So as I said a second ago, we appreciate the fact that the city recognizes what we do. And he touched on one little point about how things in society right now are not looking real well for law enforcement due to societal factors and politics and all the other things that are going on. I won't get into all that. but it is refreshing when we can stand up here and recognize members of our community that have gone above and beyond to help us do our job. So what I'd like to do is I have a couple of residents that I would like to recognize, and that is Stanley Dorman and his wife Carolyn Dorman. If I could have y'all come up here, please. I'm going to read, so I'm going to present a couple of citizen commendation awards to these fine residents. There's a third party also involved. Unfortunately, he was injured the other day and is having surgery on his arm, so he couldn't make it today. And his name is George Mata, also a local citizen of the area. So I'm going to read the plaque that we're going to provide, and then I'm going to give a synopsis of why we're doing this. So we're going to present Mr. and Mrs. Dorman with a plaque that says Citizen Commendation awarded to, this one's for Carolyn Dorman, for your selfless act of bravery on December 11th, 2023. Okay? I'd like for you to hold on to that for a minute. Also with that, we will issue a certificate with that has some other information on there. I also have a plaque for Stanley Dorman as well. And now, I'm going to tell you why we're doing this. So back on December 11th, 2023, on the evening, Sergeant Dennis was out on patrol, coming back to the police department. He got to the intersection up here at Municipal Parkway and 3009, saw a vehicle sitting there with the door open and somebody standing beside it by the traffic light there. Not normal for that. Pulls up, asks the gentleman if he needed help. This guy starts screaming about a couple of people that jumped into his back seat, couldn't get him out, didn't know what was going on. So Sergeant Dennis gets involved, tries to get it's actually two young women, tries to get them out of the car, find out what's going on, and they start fighting. So Sergeant Dennis is out on the side of the road with two women that he's trying to figure out what's going on. The person in the vehicle is telling them that they jumped in the car and they're trying to steal something. So he's trying to control these two females, doesn't know what the two males are up to. He was having some trouble. There was a language barrier, and these two women didn't speak English. He was speaking to them a little bit in Spanish, but they were becoming extremely aggressive with him, and he was having a difficult time controlling them. About that time, Mr. and Mrs. Dorman, along with Mr. Mata, happened to see what was going on, pulled over, and came out and assisted Sergeant Dennis with managing one of the females. It's a little difficult to get control of people on limited information. You don't want to hurt them, but you're trying to control them and they're fighting. So the Dormans were so gracious and brave in coming forward and helping control one of the females and keeping her off to the side so that Sergeant Dennis could get the other one under control, get her handcuffed, and then turn back and see what's going on. And it's such a relief to have people that step forward and do this instead of standing on the side with their cell phone videotaping and trying to narrate what the officers are doing wrong. In this case, they stepped up. They put their own lives at risk. Mr. Dorman was actually popped in the mouth during this by one of the suspects. So it is just with great pleasure that I have them up here and can thank them for helping out our officers that are out there on the road by doing the right thing. It doesn't happen often. So please give these folks a hand. Oh, this is awesome. This is nothing. This is nothing. But we're going to get a good picture here, though. Would you like to say something, Mr. Mayor, before we do the photo?
We haven't met. Actually, you look very familiar, though.
I have a familiar thing.
Very nice to meet you. Robert, very nice to meet you. Thank you for what you did, and as Chief said, all we see these days is people standing by and filming things on their cell phone, and that's part of what's wrong with society. You guys came to the
We
rescue.
were happy we could assist the officer.
Thank you. Can we get a good picture right here? You guys in the middle?
There we go. Run in a professional photography. Yes, I do need your verbal consent to, outstanding.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine. Okay, thanks again, Chief. Marissa, anybody sign up for citizens' comments?
No.
Okay. We'll move from item number 4 to item number 5, the consent agenda. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizens' participation. However, that does not mean the item will be considered outside the consent agenda. Council, anybody have anything they want to pull from tonight's consent agenda? If there's nothing to pull, can I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. I think Jesse made it under the wire. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda passes. On to staff reports. 6A, City Manager Monthly Activity Report. Nancy, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing I have is a thank you note to the Garden Ridge Library from the Burchard family. They state that how we love our hours of reading thanks to you. They also say we love and appreciate each of you, the beautiful people bringing us beautiful stories. Then there's another thank you from the Dancelers to the library. It's thank you for all you do. You ladies are wonderful. You are appreciated. We have an employee anniversary as well. It's for Robin Achu, 1 year. Hard to believe. In the month of April, we had 225.5 volunteer hours. 8.5 of those hours were from the ladies who helped stuff the water bills. The library had 84 volunteer hours. Family of Garden Ridge had 90. And the Garden Ridge Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association had 43 hours. And then just a few other little items I'd like to mention. We had a great chamber mixer at Paul Davis Park last Thursday night, the 25th of April. First Friday with a fiesta theme is this coming Friday, May the 3rd from 5:30 to 7:30 at Paul Davis Park. And on Saturday, May the 11th from 10 to 1, we have the Shred event that's sponsored by the Suzanne Kuntz Realty Group. It will be at the Community Center drive-through, and it's residents only with proof of residency. The Board of Adjustment will be meeting on Monday, May 6th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And then I wanted to report that the Events Committee has been working on planning our July 4th celebration. There have been several media posts that have gone out already concerning it, and we will continue meeting and pulling together our annual July 4th celebration. At that time, Mayor, that's all I had to report.
2 months out.
Yes.
Council, anything for the general? Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
On to 6B, Finance and HR Monthly Activity Report. Ms. Robin, that year went by fast.
So fast. It was very fast.
The floor is all yours.
Thank you. I have just a couple things. As you met Cindy, she's here. We got her right to work. So she's already getting busy, already fitting right in with everybody. And we also have hired our utility operator position, Mr. Ruben Macias for the water department. So you may see him out and about with Dwayne or any of our water people. And that's happy to report that we're all back up to staffed up in every department except for PD. But we are also in the process of working on our amended budget for this fiscal year. That is hopefully going to be coming up in the next council meeting or two. we'll hopefully get it ready, and we're going to finish the year strong. That's all I have to report.
Thanks so much, Robin. And I know Chief and Dan are working hard to recruit and fill some of those positions in PD. Council, anything for Ms. Robin? Okay, awesome. Happy birthday, Marissa. You're up.
Thank you. Just a couple of things I want to highlight on my report is we do have an upcoming holiday. City Hall will be closed on Monday, May 27th. And then the other item is the election. So for those that are not aware, we have an election going on right now. However, early voting ended yesterday. And there's still one day left to vote, though. Election Day is this Saturday, May 4th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. here at City Hall, which is why you see some voting equipment still in the room, because it'll be in here, not at the community center. It'll be here at City Hall this Saturday. The election results will be posted on the city's website as soon as I receive them Saturday night from Comal County Elections Office. Don't know the time exactly. It really varies year to year. And then the election canvass is scheduled for Wednesday, May 15th at 6 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. The last item I wanted to briefly touch on is not on my report, but it's an update about the monthly grapevine. After a 3-month hiatus due to our staffing shortage, there is a grapevine that went out with utility bills for the month of May. Some people probably have already seen it, especially if you get e-billing. But if you haven't, you should check it out. It's new and improved layout. I think it is very visually appealing to look at and easier to read, so I hope everybody else feels the same. That is all I have.
Thanks, Marissa. Council, anything for our city secretary?
I agree, the grapevine is much easier to read, it's catchy, use the same pictures from the website, so I appreciate the update, thank you. I think more residents will read it.
I hope so.
Thanks, Marissa. I appreciate all the hard work. Is it still like a game of Tetris to put it all together?
I don't think it's as bad with
Okay.
with the pictures. And
Okay.
you don't have to worry about the wording and really lengthy articles as well and fitting those all together. I think it was a lot smoother with
Okay.
the graphics.
Thanks so much. We got plenty of feedback about it, and people miss the grapevine. So thanks so much for bringing it back. Great job. All right, Chief, 6D, you're up.
Something you've already mentioned is, yes, we are still recruiting. We've had some good response already to our cadet program and have some phone calls that we've been fielding and talking to folks. Last week, Chief Bellinger went to Uvalde, and there's a regional academy there, the Southwest Texas Junior College Academy out of Uvalde. And so he paid a visit down there and spent the day down there. And I believe we've already got some feelers going there as well. So that's a good thing. They didn't have very many sponsored, so there's a lot of them available, and we're hoping that some of them might want to relocate up this direction from that area. We also have another trip planned to ACOG this week. In the next 2 days, we'll be going down there. Now that they're in their first week of a new class, we're going to jump on them as well. So we're still aggressively recruiting every opportunity we can. And we're hoping to get some results pretty soon. In addition to that, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. One is National Night Out is going to be a little different this year. In past years, it was a city-sponsored event up at the community center. Last year, we moved it to the park. And this year, I want to try to get it back more to its traditional roots as to what it was intended for. National Night Out was intended to get people out of their homes to meet their neighbors and converse and get to know each other and build the community rapport in the neighborhoods. So that's what we're going to try to do this year. We're contacting the HOAs. We want them to start pushing that, getting block parties, HOA parties, whatever they decide to do. And then we will go visit those parties, the officers, and make our presence known there and communicate with them that way and interact that way, so that hopefully we can get a little bit of that traditional National Night Out going again and building those relationships in the community instead of everybody just coming up here and having a social gathering. We want to have it for what it's intended for. So you're going to see a lot of postings coming out on social media, on the Facebook pages. Some have already gone out. There's a block party contest that we're going to have with pictures and some prizes to give out. But I wanted to start now promoting that we want to go back to the traditional style and get that word out now. And so that's what we're working on for this year. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about is our pancake breakfast. 1st of June is coming up real quick, a few weeks. Got some flyers on the back table out there. We're posting that. But again, everything, we have a very generous sponsor with Audi. And so everything that we obtain and get from donations of the fire and police coming together, we have a great little rivalry going down there, cooking pancakes and sausage, and all the donations that we collect from that go to the Children's Advocacy Center. 100% of it goes. And we give that to them to help because they are all nonprofit and work strictly off grants and funds. So this will be our 6th year. So we're hoping to keep increasing. We had a nice donation last year and we're looking forward to it again this year. So we're asking everybody to come out and have some pancakes and sausage on the 1st of June. Come out and see us at Paul Davis Park. That's all I've got, sir.
It's fantastic, Chief. I love the idea about National Night Out. Can't wait for some pancakes. Council, anything for our chief? All right, thanks so much. On to Public Works, 6E. Stephen, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the month of April, Public Works completed 426 work orders, removed 158 pounds of trash from the right-of-ways. The bulk of that weight was a couch and a mattress. Had culvert pipe cleaned out in front of Trophy Oaks entrance. Recorded 1.56 inches of rain at the Public Works yard. Filled in potholes on Nacogdoches, Old Nacogdoches Road and Nacogdoches Loop. Approximately 36 tons of asphalt was used for both projects. Replaced the transmission on the small dump truck. Eric Lohman attended 3 animal control related classes, vector control, an animal control conference, and a wildlife rescue and rehab. Bulk dumpsters will be back on May 11th from 8 to 5, May 12th, 12 to 4, May 18th, 8 to 5, and May 19th, 12 to 4. We currently have 3 dogs ready for adoption. And that would conclude the Public Works portion of my report.
Thank you, Stephen. Council, anything for Stephen regarding Public Works? All right, I know, Kay, you're going to give us an update about Animal Services a little bit later on and all the hard work you and Stephen and Nancy and Eric have been doing on that. So, and thanks for picking up the mattress and the couch. I appreciate that. And just so everybody knows, we are aware of when we do our dumpster weekends that it gets very busy up there, and we have a minimal staff, and we're working through options to make sure that everybody has good service and we keep the line moving. We just, in April, we had a lot of people, a lot of residents come out, and a lot of it was bulk items. And so that takes machinery and planning to put those in the dumpster. So we're working through the issues, and thanks for bringing that stuff to our attention. Thanks, Stephen. Okay, utilities.
The Utilities Department completed 269 work orders, pumped 27.17 acre feet from the Edwards with a year-to-date total of 51.51 acre feet with 531 acre feet available. Daily pumping average out of the Edwards is 0.91. Pumped 37.78 acre feet from the Trinity with a year-to-date total of 165.71. Daily average for the month of April was 1.26. All required monthly distribution samples passed. Water loss was 4.6%. Total AMI portal customers is 828. Meter daily readability percentages are 99.61 for 1,670 meters. No main breaks or service lines repairs reported. 1 new leak adjustment request was submitted. That's all I have for utilities.
It's the first month we haven't had a major line break in a long time, so maybe you got caught up on some sleep there, Stephen. Jesse, I know you have things to add?
Yeah, I was going to make the same comment. I thought it was 2 months that we haven't had a line break, so that's great. I see the numbers down. So I did follow up with that new metric that's on this page, the meter daily readability percentage. I asked Michelle what that was, and she sent me a text, so I'm just going to read part of it out. So just for the council to know what this is and what Michelle and Robert have done. So she's, for March 22nd through April 23rd billing period, she ran a test to look at the meters and see if any missed readings. And it was around about 30 meters that missed some readings. So Robert and her were looking through the monthly checks. Robert made some adjustments with antennas and configuration. She made some configuration changes to the settings. Anyway, that got down to only 6 slow meters at this point. So that's what this number's gonna be. So I really appreciate the effort that Michelle and Robert did to get that improved like that. So that's really great work that they did, pursuing. So Michelle's new assignment's working out. So thank you for that. So I just want to share that with council since I got that from Michelle. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Jesse. That's a great addition. And Michelle's doing a great job as our utility clerk. It's amazing, actually. Council, anything else for Stephen? Okay, thanks so much, Stephen. On to our librarian, 6F. Ma'am, the floor is yours. Always a pleasure.
Oh, we are. Good evening. First of all, the library will be closed also on Memorial Day and will be closed on Saturday as well, that whole Memorial weekend. I'd like to emphasize a couple of things that are coming up in May. The first one is that I'm going to talk about is the gardening class. It's going to be the last gardening class we have until September. It's on plant propagation. It's May 16th at noon. And Diane Jones is such an outstanding teacher. She makes me think I can do that. That remains to be seen, but she's very, very good. That's at 12 noon. The other big item coming up is Star Wars Day. It says, May the 4th be with you. Due to some problems with my husband's health, we changed the date to Friday, May the 3rd, and because we didn't think as many people would come on May the 4th, on Saturday evening. Remember, we have Yoda soda and Luke Skywalker and Wookiee cookies and Hans Rolos, some Star Warsy snacks. But I am really sorry that this conflicts with First Friday. I do think we're looking at different people groups, but I do make you a promise, if we see some parents or children who need to talk with the mayor or any council members, we're going to send them right down to the park. And conversely, if you see some little rambunctious children in the park that look like they need to go to the library and make Nerf lightsabers so they can conk each other on the head, just send them our way. Last year, the children loved making those lightsabers, and they were wailing upon each other, and the parents didn't seem to mind. Wendy and I kept saying, go outside, and they kept coming back in. So finally, we ended up kind of shaking, kind of frazzled in the corner, and we said, we're not doing those lightsabers again. And one man had come a little bit late with his grandson, and he wasn't sure they were going to enjoy it or not. But as he left, he walked out saying, coolest librarians ever. And I went, yeah, heck yeah, we'll do that again. So this Friday, 5:30 to 7:30, if you do get bored at the park, feel free to come to the library. Y'all can make a Nerf lightsaber, and y'all could have a little conking session with each other. I think that would be worth watching. But that's all I have.
Thank you, Linda. Are you dressing up as Queen Amidala again this year?
I may just wear a T-shirt that says, May the 4th be with you.
I think, Kelly, we could probably use some Nerf lightsabers at First Friday, right about 7 o'clock or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's going to wear a T-shirt too, but if y'all promise to come, I'll make her come as Princess Leia. She really looks good as Princess Leia.
Awesome.
For that
Thanks,
long
Linda.
hair.
Council, anything for Miss Linda? Okay, thank you. On to item number 7, City Engineer Project Status Reports. Sam, always a pleasure to see you. I know you've been very busy. The floor is yours.
Yes, I have been very busy. Good to see you. Good evening. So only thing I want to kind of touch base on is the 2252 project and kind of give you an update of where we're at with the project as a whole. Excuse me. So we've been having some issues with the contractor on this project. Back, I think about 2 months ago, there was a gas line that was hit by the contractor, and he recently got a bill from CenterPoint Energy, and that really kind of threw things up in the air at that point. So he felt the bill wasn't justified because they were, technically, CenterPoint was supposed to be moved prior to the water project starting. That wasn't the case. We got started before the gas company. So there were some conflicts along the way. So he feels that since they didn't move, he shouldn't be liable if the line was damaged, which I don't agree with. If the line's damaged, it's damaged, you should pay for it. So anyway, he took this stance that he does not want to work near the gas line now. So that kind of delayed things or whatnot. He threatened to demobilize until the gas was moved, things of that nature. So I kind of talked them into like, okay, let's think about this and keep going with this project. We're almost at the finish line. Let's get it done. So we talked them into doing it, proceeding. And then he came across another area like, hey, the gas line is there. There's a bore pit that's open. I can't work in that condition. So I was like, here we go again. So talked to CenterPoint and TxDOT to kind of let them know what was going on. And I made many calls to CenterPoint, many calls to TxDOT trying to keep this project going because if he demobilized, it was tens of thousands of dollars for him to mobilize again and come back out. So finally got CenterPoint to agree to clean up the site, move all pipe, fill in a bore pit, and so that way the contractor can keep going. There's another issue out there as well, pole bracing with CPS Energy. So there are 2 poles also in the way of our alignment at this point, and I reached out to CPS Energy in October last year, late October, early November, twice. To ask them what was the process of getting these poles braced because I anticipated my contractor getting done sooner or getting to that point faster than we anticipated. So I wanted to have that process already completed. We didn't get a good, reliable contact until like a month ago. So that really delayed things in that aspect, and we still have not figured out the process we know the process, but we have not got the poles braced as of yet. So I'm still working with TxDOT, utility coordinator, and CPS Energy to try to get that. I finally got a contact person over there. He's been very helpful, but it's still not moving things like I think they should be moving. So the contractor can't work in that area until the poles are braced. So there's still work to do, but not much more work to do. So he agreed to finish off whatever he can do in the time being, but then once you cross 3009 near the Wets property, there are about 5 or 6 poles that need to be braced there at that intersection, and we're nowhere near getting that process completed. So he's going to have to demobilize because there's no more work for him to do. So I fought for weeks to get him to do this one stretch between Arrowwood and 3009, and now he's still probably going to have to demobilize because we just don't have the poles braced at this time. City manager has been helping me with a contact at CPS Energy to try to push that along. I've been staying on TxDOT. They've been in contact with CPS Energy and actually sent an email telling them that poles need to be braced so we can continue working. Because it's not just affecting us, it's affecting CenterPoint Energy as well. So, like I said, it still hasn't gone anywhere as far as progress is getting a permit or they have to design the pole bracing. There's another department that designs it, and once it's designed, then they'll send a crew out to actually brace the pole. So we're nowhere near. I don't see that happening in the next week or so, for sure. So just to kind of add to it, if the contractor demobilizes, it could be months before he comes back on site So then there's another delay. And I told TxDOT, there's no way I can predict when he will be back, because he personally told me once he pulls the crew, they're not coming back until they finish the job that he put them on. So if it's a big project, then they could be months before they even get back to this water line project. So I let TxDOT know that was the deal, that was the situation. I mean, there's not much more I can do. So I just kind of want to give an update on that. One small bit of good news, we modified our alignment and we reduced about 70 feet of pipe. So that'll help, offset some of this cost, but it's going to be a big hit to the city. And there's no way to pass it off to another utility, only because we're not in contract with the other utility. The contract is in contract with City of Garden Ridge, so the bill is going to come to the City of Garden Ridge, unless for some reason he decides not to charge for demobilization, which I can bring it up, but he's kind of been really after money at this point because he's been losing time, and he's lost a week of work to where we've been trying to iron issues out in the field, and his workers weren't working, but he still had to pay them. So, I mean, that's just the situation right now, but that's pretty much the update right now. They should be complete this week. We're laying about 400 feet of pipe. That should be done by the end of the week, laying that pipe. And then we're at a waiting game until they can get back out and finish the work.
Thanks, Sam. Council, before we jump in there, just want to give you some updates of things behind the scenes. Sam's done a great job of keeping the city, specifically Nancy, informed of everything that's going on, whether it's contractor threatening to demobilize from a couple weeks ago. Sam and Nancy are tied at the hip on the phone and giving great updates with that. And who knew when you were studying for your professional engineer license and going to school that an engineer would include mediation and leadership, right? So thanks for what you're doing. As far as CPS goes, based on you keeping Nancy in the loop and Nancy making sure I know about it today, I plan on calling Rudy Garza, the CEO of CPS Energy, tomorrow and see if we can get some traction on it. So all is not lost yet.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
Council?
Yeah, Sam, I want to thank you for all the effort you did there to keep them going like that. I appreciate your part in that, to keep the contractor going, so thank you.
No problem.
Todd?
I'm going to ask the grumpy question. If we're incurring a cost because of CPS Energy's inability to do their job, I'll leave the four-letter epithets out of it, why can't we go after CPS? In my mind, CPS is responsible for this demob fee. They didn't answer for 7 months.
Right.
No. Now, I've got a previous history with CPS Energy, and we won't talk about that here because that's a personal one, but they're worthless. And I'm hoping they're watching it. So that's kind of my thought process on that is if, certainly call the CEO, but do we have any teeth, and maybe that's a question for Cynthia, is do we have any teeth that we can go back after CPS for? We're going to incur tens of thousands of dollars that are going to be billed to our taxpayers in the city, and it's the fault of CPS Energy.
We'd actually have to take a view at those contracts, because all
Okay.
of that is going to be controlled via the contracts.
Okay. Just my 2 cents.
And what I did talk to TxDOT, and because they're the ultimate, they're leading this entire project. And I asked if the city incurs these demobilization and remobilization fees, is there a way to get reimbursed or TxDOT reimburse the city? I haven't got a response yet. So I am trying to push that to where you don't have any money come. If you do, you will be reimbursed. That's what I'm trying to do.
Let's do this. Nancy will send out an update to all of us next week, and we'll see what shakes out in the next couple days with phone calls and whatnot, keep you guys fully in the loop, okay? On this side, Lisa or Kelly? Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item number 8, City Commission and Committee Reports, Recommendations, Possible Actions. 8A1, Planning and Zoning Commission Petition by Eric Fisher for 3 specific use permits for the revival to be located on a 1.707 acre tract and a 1.40 acre tract totaling 3.107 acres zoned as Community Commercial CC District and further located at 19186 FM 2252 Garden Ridge, Texas, and receive a recommendation from Planning and Zoning Commission. Karim, I see you in the audience. Come on forward. I want to preface this with, Council, we're not making any decisions tonight based on Planning and Zoning's recommendation from earlier this month. What we will do is, after hearing from Planning and Zoning, we will set a date for our public hearing, which will be in June. Karim.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Planning and Zoning met, and we received the petition from Mr. Eric Fisher for the 3 specific use permits for the revival to be located on 1.707 acre tract and the 1.40 acre tract totaling the 3.107 acres zoned as Community Commercial District. And it's further, located with a physical address of 19186 FM 2252 Garden Ridge, Texas. So the 3 specific use permits, we held a public hearing and we received comments from the residents on 3 of the specific use permits for the revival. And the first specific use permit was for the restaurant or cafeteria bar / tavern, which is to allow an indoor and outdoor bar area serving beer, wine, and mixed drinks with inside and outside seating on premises. The commission voted, and the recommendation to City Council for the approval of that specific use permit, and it was on an approval of 4-3. So that had to go to a tiebreaker, and as chair, I had to vote for that tiebreaker in favor of that. So that's the recommendation on the restaurant, cafeteria, bar, tavern specific use permit. On the second specific use permit was for the amusement commercial outdoors to allow up to 4 pickleball courts on the premises. On this one, also the Planning and Zoning also recommended the approval to City Council for that, and the motion also was passed 5-1. So Planning and Zoning recommended on that one. And then on the third specific use permit for the food truck and mobile retail park, and that's to allow up to 4 food trucks, which will also have electric and water hookups on premises for those food trucks. Their Planning and Zoning voted. There were 2 motions, but I'll go to the second motion, because the first one was not to, it didn't pass for the approval of that. So there was a second motion that was the denial of the petition by Eric Fisher for that specific use permit. And that motion passed for the denial of that specific use permit for the food trucks and mobile retail park, and that motion passed 5-1 for the denial. So those were the 3 specific use permits that Planning and Zoning took up, and those are our recommendations to City Council.
Thank you, Karim. Council, any questions for the Chair of Planning and Zoning? Okay, thank you so much. Good. You want to keep going?
I just wanted to update the council on the NFO, on the Natural Features Overlay District. We did not take up that item due to our lengthy meeting and planning and zoning, so we'll be taking that up in our next planning and zoning meeting in May, this month, next week. And our next meeting is next week, May 8th, here at City Hall Chambers, 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you made a good decision to table the NFO discussion due to the length of the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Karim.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Item number 8A112, set city council public hearing date. There was not sufficient time between planning and zoning meeting and council meeting tonight to satisfy legal requirements for notice of publication. Therefore, city council will conduct a public hearing and consider this item for action on June 5th, 2024 at our monthly council meeting. All right, thanks. 8B, Water Commission. Jim, I see you in the background. Bill's coming? All right. Hi, Bill. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. It was a rather short meeting. We had a scheduled business item to review a resident's variance request. That request was withdrawn by the resident just prior to the meeting. Probably the main item that was covered is a subcommittee had been recently formed to take a look at the city's drought management plan and to address the thinking that we may be in a drought situation for a long period of time, and how do we mesh the need for water conservation, what's currently in the ordinance versus what are legitimate, in some cases really heartfelt requests by residents to do landscaping projects. And some of these have come before City Council in the form of variances. So at this point, it's really just an information gathering activity. There was one conversation with one of the subcommittee members with SAWS to find out what they're doing. And as this information is gathered, we'll be sitting down with city personnel and really seeing, is there a plan to go forward with something like this? And then if their changes are warranted, then recommendations will be made. So we're really in the early stages of doing something like this. The last item was city personnel gave a great update on the efforts to increase the use and effectiveness of the AMI portal. Specifically, Michelle went to some training in April. Jesse, you mentioned the effectiveness of tracking down some of these meters. And this had been an ongoing agenda item with the Water Commission to really get this great system optimized as much as we can. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bill. We're looking forward to that good discussion with you guys doing some heavy lifting and some good research on drought management. We're going on nearly 2 years that we've been in stage 1 initially and then moved to stage 2. Mm-hmm. And we need to have those hard discussions about where we go from here in case this is the new norm. Thanks. Jesse? Todd, Kay, Lisa, Kelly? Okay, thanks so much. Okay, on to item number 9 updates. 9A is city council projects. The first one is aggregate production, APO impacting Garden Ridge. I don't have any updates for this month. Lisa?
There it goes. Lots going on per usual. Let's start with legislative stuff. Donna Campbell and her chief of staff, Shane Birdwell, came out to visit Garden Ridge on April 11th. We drove her down Quarry Row and stopped at the Bracken United Methodist Church to take her onto that playground parking lot that has the large berm backed up to it. Talked to her about everything. She had heard most of it before. Her Comal County, one of her counties, has, one of the counties with the most APO, with the most heavy industry. So she's aware of those things. And I thought she listened, and I have been told numerous times that it was a great thing that we took her down Quarry Row. She at one point said, well, we went down 2252, drove over all the bumps in the roads, talked to her a little bit about what we can do about the road destruction from the heavy trucks, and she's got somebody That's a transportation whiz that she was going to reach out to. So we went down 2252 and took a left on to Coyote Run. And if you haven't been down on Coyote Run, it's just one asphalt plant, batch plant, quarry after another. And she said, well, is this Garden Ridge? And, you know, she checked herself and said, it's not, but it's still my county. So I thought that was helpful. I thought she got a good close-up look at things. We also, on the 16th, Nancy and I went up to the Capitol and met with Carrie Isaac and her Chief of Staff, Terry Franks, and about 7 people from TCEQ. And I'm just going to run down a little bit of what we talked, or who we met with. We met with the executive director. She took lots and lots of notes. We met with the senior legal counsel, who I had spoken with on the floor before, whose name is Morgan. We met with the legislative liaison, met with the chief toxicologist, who is going to get us a regional air monitoring report. In discussions, we also had the deputy director of air monitoring and the deputy director of air permitting, and had lots of discussion about the distance from Garden Ridge to the nearest monitor, which is about 12 miles. The chief toxicologist, I completely believe in science. She said, you know, the air quality is not that bad. You know, their regional detection takes in all kinds of different factors, and it should be able to detect, you know, this area as well. And I said, yeah, honestly believe in science, but what I'm seeing with my own 2 eyes is different, right? So, you know, what we see on a daily basis, what we see, the dust we have in our homes and our backyards and everything, it's a real thing. And they acknowledge that. She's supposed to get me that report. The deputy of air permitting is supposed to get us some information on dispersion modeling. I mean, the argument to me is always, well, you keep adding one quarry, asphalt plant, cement batch plant on top of another. How are we measuring this output? And they've got calculations that do that as well, so I'm anxious to see those. Had some discussion about the air permitting process in general, just some of the application things, the ability for, in the case of Guadalupe Ready Mix, to check a box to say that they weren't gonna, that more public participation was not required because they did not believe there would be any interest from the public. Just those kinds of things. Nothing in, you know, none of that stuff is really enforceable, you know, but it's relevant. So I was happy with the executive director participating. Talked to the local air permitting person as well. I've dealt with George Ortiz, who is one of the guys in our region, and this one was Joel Anderson, who I hadn't met before. And he produced a report that said over the number of complaints about the APOs in the last 3 years. And that was, he came up with 13. That's, you know, down Quarry Road, that whole area, Lion K Materials. And my question back to him was, well, okay, well, of those 13, how many of those, was there an enforcement issue or was there a fine? And the answer to that was 1. And again, I said, you know, I have filed 2 of these. You know, with my own 2 eyes, I have seen dust in front of the Heidelberg Quarry. I have seen the tracking off-site at Lion K Materials. So he said that he would be willing to come over anytime there was an issue. So far, I'm pushing on that, but not getting as much of a response. We'll see on that. Some great things happened. Dan Patrick actually wrote a letter calling for the, calling to pause the permitting for cement plants. This is in relationship to a cement plant out in Williamson County that they're trying to put next to a huge chip processing plant. And the chip processing plant is saying, well, we wouldn't have built there if we knew that this was going to be there. And it's been a city, county-wide effort. The city has really advocated. Actually, the county commissioners in Williamson County have spoken out, which is unusual, that They don't consider that part of necessarily their job. So he is calling for a pause in permitting at that particular plant and in general until the legislation can meet in 2025. It's also, it showed up after he sent that letter, it showed up that it is going to be part of the Senate's interim list of priorities is out, and that is also listed as a priority. So certainly we want to work that as hard as we can, that, hey, listen, we are being inundated, and we're a small city like the city that they were trying to build the cement plant next to. So that tells me that the legislature is paying attention. Another great thing happened is that we got word on the 23rd from Carrie Isaac's chief of staff that Donna Campbell and Carrie Isaac had signed a joint letter to TCEQ asking for a public hearing for both the Vulcan plant and Heidelberg. And this is a part of the WPAP. And with the WPAP, again, every permitting process at TCEQ is different. WPAP does not have as part of the process, doesn't have any kind of public meeting. So it was a big deal for them to step out and send that letter. So super appreciate that. And we'll wait and see, what happens, what happens with that. That's, some few other things. I'm going to skip some other TCEQ stuff. Community outreach. I've been working with the Edwards Aquifer Authority and the Comal Trinity Groundwater District to have them do some well testing. I had a citizen reach out that's close to the quarry and said, listen, I have concerns about my water. And then I contacted another person that was on Miller Lane as well. So they both had their wells tested. Their information will come back in 3 or 4 weeks. So I was happy that they volunteered to do that. We also have Bat Conservation International, or the Bracken Bat Cave, has put a bat detection device on the land over there. Again, close to the quarry, close to the proposed expansion, to see if we can't detect some of the tricolored bats, which are about to be listed as an endangered species. Of course, the hope there is that may trigger something with the EPA for protecting endangered species. So still hitting every angle we can, talking to lots of people, making lots of contacts. Just keeping an eye on things.
Awesome, thanks, Lisa. Council, anything for Lisa regarding APOs? I do want to add and certain praise for Lisa, all her work with the legislature. Talking to Terry Franks with an update yesterday, he's the chief of staff for Representative Isaac. There's more momentum right now with Senator Donna Campbell's office and Carrie Isaac's office, along with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's office, for legislative change in the 89th Congress next year to affect positive things for our community, specifically Garden Ridge. So these things have had momentum before, but there seems to be significant momentum right now, and hopefully that keeps going. And some specifics are reclamation as well as boundaries and how close an aggregate production operation can be with their berms and whatnot, their operation to a property. And 25 feet probably isn't 25 feet is probably not the right answer there. We don't know what that is, but they're working on it. And Lisa is the chief catalyst in making that happen. So she's done some fantastic work. So thanks. Todd, you had something?
I'm just going to look at Lisa and go, okay, what do you need from us and what else can we do? You know me. What else? Because I'm racking my brain trying to think of what else we can do inside of, whether you want to call it legal or moral or ethical or whatever else, what else can we do? What do you need from the council?
Well,
What do you
I
need
mean,
from
like
our
I've-
citizens?
What I have emphasized every time I've been up here is that there's the legal, legislative, and I've been TCEQ under the legislative since it's government, and then what the community outreach PR part of this is. And I think that the PR part of it is probably the most important.
Okay.
I had a discussion yesterday with Jack Olivier, who is working on a smaller quarry. He's a geologist, and he put together some hydrogeologist information that, you know, I looked at the report. I can't understand the report. It's very confusing, very colorful. But, you know, one of the things I talked with him about is that, you know, we're playing the same game over and over and over again, right? We know how TCEQ operates. They have their operating instructions. So they, you know, the APOs file a permit, and it goes through the same process. And it is perfunctory, and it is a permitting agency. So while I think we have to go through the process, I don't think it's gonna make a lot of change.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's making the change in Williamson is the chip manufacturer, right? So, I mean, it's the pressure.
We're not going to get one of those, though.
No, I'm not going to get one of those, but it's, you know, pressure on the company. You know, and I think we need to just make it very clear with Heidelberg that this is going to be an issue with us. I reached out to Jeremiah McKinney. I have not heard back from him yet because he had just completed a biodiversity study at Natural Bridge Caverns and identified some species of frogs and different birds and things. There's a report online somewhere, and he's on the Natural Bridge Caverns giving a talk with Frayne Hutchins, who's the director of the Bracken Bat Cave.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
I
speak
know
with
both those
him.
people.
Yeah.
Quite well.
Yes. But he'd been working with Natural Bridge Caverns in the Weiss family, and part of that was the survey was Natural Bridge Caverns and the Weiss Ranch. And that ranch, I looked up, comes close to the end of Lewis Ranch, right? So it's not going to
Right
be
there.
that far from
No.
where the proposed quarry is.
No.
So I would love to approach them and see if, you know, we could talk about the economic impact of having this so close by.
Right.
And the economic impact for the, you know, the Bracken Bat Cave too. I mean, those are the two of the biggest tourist industries here. So I mean, I think I've also talked a little bit about, with Jack, the geologist as well. I mean, Vulcan and I are, you know, we're Vulcan and Heidelberg are running the same race right now and talking about, you know, joining forces in some ways, you know, to put that public pressure out there to, you know, keep the heat on the legislation. You know, there's lots of ideas being kicked around, so. And I mean, and there's nothing that says that the city can't advocate. You know, other cities advocate for these
Right.
things. They can put stuff out on social media, give direction on what to do. We just need to figure all that out.
Okay.
Thanks. Council, anything else? Kelly? Okay. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. On to item number 2, mitigation of growth and encroachment impacts on Garden Ridge. I don't have anything for this month. Do you have anything to add?
Yep.
Okay.
I met with the guys from Lion Cave Materials. If you're not familiar with Lion Cave, it is the quarry behind Wild Wind. And it's that quarry that has the exit and entrance off of Marbach, which is always very, very dusty. Citizens of Wild Wind, I've met with a couple times with just on a tour with Carrie Isaac, with news crews, our newspaper crew. And there's lots of complaints about the height of the berm, the location of the berm, the amount of dust. So I wanted to talk to them about it. You know, they were a little defensive, and they had some bad information. They were told at one point that anybody who files a complaint repeatedly can be fined $500. And that is from a bill that didn't pass last legislative session. It didn't even have a chance, but they brought that up with me several times. They talked about the berm, the berm is helpful in blocking both the dust and the noise, and there's probably some truth to that, depending on where they are, where they are doing their work. They don't blast, they mine 4 inches at a time, 4 inches deep at a time. So, the noise are those machines over there. He talked about selling the quarry it's a 60-acre space, 60-acre quarry for $7 million, which is over $100,000 an acre, which is completely out of. Yeah, no, it's complete. That's a completely unreasonable ask. Talked with them about the berm. There's a citizen over there that was able to purchase a buffer when they started moving that berm closer. And I said, well, could the citizens buy that same kind of level of berm and have that pushed back? And his price for that was $3 million. And it's behind all 3 of the houses. So he said they were unwilling to do anything that was anything more than was required by TCEQ. They said they wouldn't do anything that cost them any additional money. They need help with a couple of things. They need more water, but that's SAWS, so can't really help them there. No. And there was some, discussion too about, the open space, that land could be reclaimed and whatnot. But, we left it on terms. I said, some of the citizens would like to meet with you. He's met with, it was Brad and his Guy Friday, Paul. He said he didn't have a title. And they have met with the one citizen over there, but they were unwilling to meet with a group of citizens, which I understand. I said, you're right. That would end up being, a firing squad for them. And I also said that I did not think that really the citizens would believe what they had to say. I said that I think the better thing to do is to have a representative from TCEQ come over and look at the berm and look at the distance between the berm and the backyards and explain to them what is and isn't, within standards. So working on that currently. And they was sent a copy of violations, again, by the local air permitting guy. And quarries are rated, and their rating is a 0.51, and that is in the satisfactory range. It flips to unacceptable at 0.55. So, these guys have had a lot of violations, but we'll see what we can do.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Council, anything else for items 1 and 2? Okay, economic development, item 3, Kelly?
Yes, sir. I don't have anything new, except I'm still waiting on dates on the meeting, the company that approached me that is looking at the corner of 3009 and 2252. So hopefully I'll have a better update next time.
Okay, thanks. Looking forward to that. And we had a great mixer last Thursday night. Moving on to item number 4. You guys want to chat about that, Kelly?
Go ahead, Kay.
Just really what Nancy mentioned, we had a great, the weather cooperated, the band could be out there. I think it was pretty well attended, to be honest. Do you have any feedback, Kelly?
Yeah, somebody made off the margaritas. I don't know who that was. No, nothing else. That was a great success. And we even had another event down the road that we were competing with and still pulled about the same crowds we did last year. So that was great. And I've talked to the person who had the event, and we, neither entity knew the other one was having an event. So hopefully next year it can be more of a combined and.
Tell that entity
We'll
to check
double.
Facebook more often.
And then luncheon, May 14th at Retama Park for the Chamber of Commerce, and mixer, May 23rd at Blue Bonnet Palace. And that's all I have.
Awesome, thanks, guys. It was a great event, and the margaritas that were left over will reappear on Friday night, first Friday.
So you say.
There will be margaritas there. Okay, on to number 5, council liaison to water company and utilities. Jesse?
Yeah, I got a couple things going on in the background. Hopefully, working with Robin and Michelle with collecting data, water sales and all that. So we're working on that. Hopefully have something later on.
Fantastic. As we said before, it's great to have Michelle as the utility clerk, and thanks for working with her. Todd, item number 6, Comal ISD.
Have I mentioned the new bleachers are coming? Did I
A
bring
few
that up
months
yet?
ago.
Was that a couple months ago? It kind of hazes together when you missed a couple months. Yeah, so new bleachers are coming. Supposedly, they're working on a way to get the field house for us, potentially, outside of a bond, so maybe we can actually get the high school finished instead of leaving it undone. And that's about all I know for that right now.
Okay, thanks. And Kay, you're up with item number 7, animal services enhancements.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we are moving forward on this project. Just so everyone knows as well, this was no additional funds. This was budgeted in the animal services budget for this past year, so we're not incurring any additional expense. The item you can see highlighted on the map up there was developed by both Eric Lohman and Michelle for us. I hope you can tell we're Public Works. She labeled them for me, the Public Works and so on, and Community Service and so forth, give you an idea of the position of it. And our proposal is, and what we've already prepared, actually Eric has ordered, it's a 30 by 30 safe, kennel setup with, you'll see that little square in the side, I'll call it a catch pen, and that's a 10 by 10. And what it will allow is for, whether it be during volunteer services or just the dogs that we have in our presence, can be taken into that kennel by a city staff and let loose and have some, just, a little more freedom in living in a kennel, so to speak. It also affords, once we get our volunteer program going, to let citizens, if they want to meet and greet, possibly bring their own animal to see if maybe they're compatible, or just if they are in the market for a dog like we all should be, just to be able to come in there and meet the dog. It'll give the dogs much greater quality of life. Most of the parts are on hand. There are a few parts that are back ordered, so it's an underway thing. And Eric will be preparing the ground surface and so on, so that it's safe. And I have 2 separate documents I mentioned before that I visited Universal City and met with their director over there, and she's incredible. And I obtained their service agreement, volunteer agreement, and I asked our city attorney, Cynthia, to review it for me. And there are a couple corrections, and of course, some of it is not relevant to us. They're such a considerably bigger city. And we have also access to another one that we're kind of, again, some of it would not be available to us, or relevant, I'm sorry. But the hope is that, again, quality of life for the dogs, whether we have them for a week, a day, or what have you, that they have a better quality of life, and also that we can create a volunteer program so that we've had over the years people come forward and say, we'd love to, be able to walk these dogs or interact with them and so on and so on. And this dream will come true. So I'm really excited about it. Again, it was budgeted and it's just all working out really well. I can't say exactly when it'll be in place sooner than last month. So certainly I'm open to any questions or comments, or if anybody in the audience like to send me an email with comments, anything at all, comments, questions you might have, support of it, or if you have concerns, certainly I'd be willing to listen to that as well.
That's awesome, Kay. Great work. And especially
Kay, Nancy, Stephen, and Eric. Stephen, will you pass on our thanks to Eric for everything he's done? You guys, the four of you specifically, have made great strides in this, and we all appreciate what you're doing. So thanks. Great work.
Thank you.
Awesome. Council, anything for Kay regarding that? All right, on to item number 10, discussion of future agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to see on next month's agenda? Okay. Moving on to item number 11, citizen comment period. We're not required to have signed up for this one. You have 2 minutes. We can't answer your questions, but we're taking notes. Any takers? Okay. We will move on to item number 12, reports and comments from mayor and city council members. I'll start on my left. Any of those areas you want to address, Kay?
No, I don't believe so. And we've covered what I would be involved in.
Okay. Todd?
Boy Scouts will be there to help out Friday night, and we can expect to see at least 3 new Eagle Scouts in the next month or so.
That's outstanding.
I got to get them through their board before I can call them an Eagle Scout, but we should be there.
Is one of them, did they have the last name Arvidsson? Outstanding. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Thanks for letting us know. Jesse, anything?
Yeah, I got to catch up to do from AMPO, the Technical Advisory Committee. At the March meeting, amendments to the fiscal year 2023 to 2026 Transportation Improvement Program was reviewed. An item of interest to those that have electric cars. They'll be installing 4 electric vehicle fast charge stations along 35. One is being planned for the Selma area. So probably, my guess is right there at Evans Road under where those parking rides are, is our guess. But as I get more information on that, they'll be coming up. Anyway, 4 electric, I don't know what part of 35, that's all of Texas or just the one part here in our area. At the April meeting, there was discussion about the Port of San Antonio campus development vision and anticipated transportation needs. So there's more to come on that. Kelly, that's the former Kelly Air Force Base. And then coming up at the May meeting, which is this Friday, there'll be discussion of increasing the AMPO potential boundary expansion. Right now, AMPO boundary includes all of Bexar County, all of Comal County, all of Guadalupe County, and part of Kendall County. The expansion will include the rest of Kendall County and also add Medina County. So there'll be a vote at Technical Policy Board probably later in May, or at least first hearing and then June, the vote on that. But a pretty good chance that they'll be expanding those two counties. And then May is National Bike Month, and AMPO and partners will be hosting events and programs to encourage cycling. As soon as I get a flyer for that, I'll get it to Marissa to maybe post it on the webpage and all that. So I should get that on Friday or something. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Jesse. Lisa, anything to add?
Yes, Great Springs Project. Jesse and I have a Zoom meeting on the 15th. We were both invited to attend their trail committee meeting, and unfortunately, neither of us could attend. So we're going to get an update from the director of the program and Ruby, who I worked with on the grant application for the trail. Also, I went to Hill Country Alliance meeting. They brought back some of the alumni for their legislative session. They bring in legislature from different counties or different areas to talk about how best to approach them, what to look forward to in the interim session, how to work with them on bills. So I got to spend some more time with Terry Franks and Shane Birdwell with Campbell and Isaac's office. Shane Birdwell gave Garden Ridge a shout out to the group, saying that they've done a really good job of reaching out to Donna Campbell, and all credit goes to our citizens for that. So that was nice to hear. Also, got to spend a little more time. I've met her previously with Brandy Hendrickson, who's a deputy director, one of 2 deputy directors at TxDOT. She's in charge of planning and administration. So talked to her about some of our road issues over here.
Thanks, Lisa. Kelly? Nothing? All right, the only thing I've got for Northeast Partnership, our next luncheon is next Thursday, the 9th, at Olympia Hills Golf Club at 11:30. Our very own Cynthia Trevino will be our guest speaker that day, and speaking to everybody about the 88th Congress in Texas and legislation that made it into a bill that affects how those affect, certain of those bills affect us as municipalities, specifically within the Northeast Partnership. So Cynthia, we look forward to that, and thanks for volunteering to do that. And Lisa, you mentioned Brandy Hendrickson. I think she will most likely be our guest speaker in June for that. So thanks for bringing that, making that contact for me. And that is all I got. Moving on to item number 13, executive session. The City Council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in closed session. 13A, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0711, pending or contemplated litigation, and 551.0712, consultation with city attorney on the following items. 13A1, notice of claim letter pursuant to Texas Tort Claims Act. Number 2, in the matter of the application of Heidelberg Materials Southwest, AGG LLC for Edwards Aquifer Protection Permit, number 13001861, TCEQ docket number 2024-0549-EAQ, and matters related thereto, and 13A3, state law matters related to the development of a truck route ordinance, and matters related thereto. So we adjourn regular session at 7:26, and we'll reconvene at 7:35 back behind council chambers. Thank you. All right, item number 14, City Council business items. The City Council will reconvene into regular session, and we are reconvening at 9:52 p.m. And is there any recall item from executive session for action?
I need to make a motion. Move to request the Greater Edwards Aquifer Alliance to have its motion to overturn Executive Director's decision corrected to remove the City of Garden Ridge's name from the filing in TCEQ docket number 2024-0549-EAQ.
We have a motion coming forward from executive session. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On to item number 15, adjournment. There be no further business. The City Council regular meeting is adjourned at 9:53 p.m.